my life summary, near death, and personal empowerment teams. Greetings. Today is my day one after my surgery to fix my umbilical hernia, which was caused by my near-death car accident. Back in January 9th, 2010. Fortunately, I went on the other side, but I came back to life. But my good friend Gabriel Cabales, he died and left behind a beautiful family. So here's my life summary, my near-death experience, and personal empowerment teams. So this testimony is about how personal empowerment teams played and continues as the key role in integrating the millions of pieces of my life. As you know from my principality videos, I was kind and good-hearted kid, born with many gifts and a strong drive, but I lacked mentoring due to no father and an absentee mother. By 1978, I was arrested for the biggest drug raid in the history of San Fernando, California at that time, and was given a 10-year prison suspension. So that's when my life started turning around, upward. I had a recurring dream over and over every night for maybe a week or two. Could have been longer, I don't remember. It could have been just a week. We're going back to 1978, and here we are. I'm making this video in, December 2024. So we're not looking at a long time. But anyway, I had this recurring dream, and it was the same exact dream every night, long enough to catch my attention. And I also began to experience good versus evil in and around my life. One day I come home and I have this vision of my future. Just like a little movie in my mind, but pretty profound. At that time, I'm 18 years old, so, just a foolish kid at that time. I saw myself with big, beautiful houses, the nicest cars, tons of money, beautiful women. And then at the end of that vision, a big, giant question. Then what, Joseph? Then what? I'm like, what the heck? But it was so profound in my spirit. I felt that it was a message, because remember, I had been having this reoccurring dream. Oh, I didn't tell you what the dream was about. The dream was I was on a big platform with other people, and there were multitudes of people coming to listen. Whatever it is that I and the other people were doing, people were there, coming from all over as far as the eye could see. Just tons of people. That was a dream. And then after the dream, as I mentioned, I started experiencing good versus evil. And then I had this vision of money, cars, houses, women. I say a quick prayer in my own words. And it says, God, are you trying to talk to me because everything going on, this dream and all these experiences I'm having with evil and good, and just now this thing that you're showing me, this vision. And just then, Jesus comes into my room right there, and he shows himself to me. Now, I'm awake. I'm not dreaming, right? I have first that little vision, and then all of a sudden, I have an experience. And that I felt that connection, that oneness, which I'll explain later also. And I heard his voice, not with my ears, but in my heart. And then I saw him cry when I asked, why me? Because he knew. The reason I said why me is because I didn't believe in myself. But that connection, that oneness, that love was so pivotal. It changed my life. And then 3 years later, 1981, I began to go into the ministry. And, you know, one day, this is 3 years later, right? My friend Robert Rodriguez, which is Blinky Rodriguez, U.S. United States champion in full contact karate, and you know Benny the Jet Yakitas, which is undisputed, undefeated world champion in martial arts. They're the ones that they were the beginners or the precursor to what is today MMA. Anyway, Robert's at my house and he says, "Hey, Joe, why don't you go turn to God, man? You're the only one that I know that has had a profound experience with Jesus." Well, I turned around because God had been dealing with me already, and I said a quick prayer. God, a silent prayer, is the door. Is there still an opportunity for me to be with you? And a falling star comes down. Then a sequence of questions related to me getting right with God, and a falling star coming down after each and every one. So I don't know if maybe I was just good time and there was a meteor shower or something. I don't know, but it had an impact on my life. Well, the next day, I'm still not converted yet, right? I'm stuck in in the insanity of an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid from the wrong side of the tracks, and I'm on my way to pick up a gun. I don't know who I was going to kill, but I was going to kill somebody. Unfortunately, I've never killed anybody, just to set the record straight. But that day, I was. Those were my intentions. And I ran into a different Robert that was a minister, and he got me. He got me, just as Robert Rodriguez. This Robert Torres gets me as well. Joseph, man, why are you not with God yet? You're the only one I know that has had an experience like you have, and you're still not with God. And I remember I'm on my way to get a gun and to shoot somebody. And when Robert said that, it convicted me so profoundly that I couldn't hold back the tears. So I just turned around so Robert couldn't see me cry, and I just took out. Didn't get a gun, didn't kill nobody. I go home. That night, I went to my friend's house, but he wasn't there, so I was going to make a phone call. I had nothing to do, and I see this guy pushing his car. There's a bunch of people in his car. Looked like a family, kids and stuff. So I went over there and I said, "Hey, you need a hand?" And the guy says, "Oh, yes, God bless you." But man, when he said, "God bless you," it was like a guy dying of thirst in the desert. Something happened when he said those simple words. And I felt something go kind of like come inside me, or something inside me come alive. Well, guess what? Of all the people that needed a ride, that needed a push that day, it was the McCrarys, which those of you that know, the old school ministers, Catherine Coleman, Oral Roberts, Mario Murillo, all these big ministers in those days. We're talking 1981. And it was the McCrarys that God brings my way, and I give them a ride. And we end up at my house, and he invites me to a Bible study the next day, which happens to be Good Friday, 1981. And so that Friday, he comes over, picks me up, takes me to the McCrary family home, and it turns out to be an all-night prayer meeting, which I enjoyed because I had nothing better to do better than that than hang around with the wrong crowd. And that was the beginning of how I ended up becoming a senior pastor. And in 1981, I'm in church and I'm having some just profound experiences with God. And I get prophecies spoken over me by different people. Amazing things happen. And one of the prophecies was by world-renowned Reverend Vicki Jameson. She actually prophesied about my future and said exactly what was going to happen. I didn't know. This was 1981. Well, so and then life goes on. Remember, this is just a summary of my life, and I'm going to go into the near-death experience and personal empowerment teams comes into the picture in a few minutes. I became a minister, a senior pastor, and then followed by different business ventures, including TV, radio, publishing, communications, banking, and eventually international land developments and investments. Now, I left full-time ministry in 1986, and in all honesty, it was not for me. I left more broken than I ever was in my life. And I left, and I went on, and then in 1997, a good friend of mine introduced me to my very first personal empowerment team, which is where I learned to piece my life's pieces together. And 7 years later is when I founded International Developments and Investments, and that's where I made $3.5 million by age 47. Now, important because by now it's 2006. I remember that in 1981, Vicki Jameson had sung a prophetic song over me in 1981. So we're talking 25 years later now, right? My secretary at that time invited me to a church. I went, and I sit down inside the church. It's in Costa Rica. And guess what I hear? I hear Vicki Jameson's prophetic song, which was people here will help. They'll finance you. You will see. The Lord will say go, and you will say, I will go. So that was a prophecy in 1981. So here we are now in 2006, and I hear the prophetic song. And guess what? I am in Central America, just like the song that she gave me in 1981. So it's 2006. I'm in Costa Rica, Central America, Costa Rica. I'm getting funded millions of dollars, which was the prophecy given in 1981. People here will help. They'll finance you. You will see. The Lord will say go, and you will say, I will go. And she begins to say, he's going to Central America. He's going to Latin America. You pray for this young man. So this is 2006, right? All of this is coming together. So I'm giving you a quick summary of my life. And then after it all connects, because I had forgotten about the 1981 prophecy, but then in 2006 it all comes back, and that I realize I'm in God's timeline. Well, guess what happens? 2007 and 8 is when the banking real estate recession, it swirls me into a chaotic crisis, and I'm trying to salvage my multi-million-dollar investments, land, Ocean View Resort community and stuff, and to no avail. It was that recession was horrible. Okay, so now 2010 is when at 7:30 a.m., January 9, 2010, is when I had that accident where Gabriel Corrales died, and I went out the other side. I saw things same as when Jesus appeared to me in 1978. That oneness, connected, love, same thing. With energy is what it is. So it's that same connected oneness, and there's no time in the spirit. There is no past, present, future. It's all now. Time is a man-made thing, but in God there is no time. You talk about omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. You're part of that same energy with everything and everybody. So I saw everything, my past, my present, my future. I understood. Millions of questions got answered in no time at all. And then I hear a voice, come back, Joseph, come back, Joseph, Joseph, get out of the car. And all of a sudden, I'm back in my body. I'm feeling extreme pain and and fear of the impact, because I thought I may have broken my lung through a broken rib or something. And I'm watching my friend Gabriel die, before my very eyes. Um, so that was January 9th, 7:30 a.m. 2010. So now for many years after that, after my near-death accident, I remained physically and emotionally broken while recovering from my millions of dollars in losses from that '07 and '08 banking and real estate recession. And I owed hundreds of thousands of dollars in personal back taxes. But I recovered and reinvented myself by practicing the same skills that I learned 30 years ago at personal empowerment teams. Now, today, I'm retired, 65 years old, debt free. My credit score is 830, my credit score, my FICO. I'm loving life and I'm paying it forward to adults and children worldwide. And I'm inviting you to join me in launching personal empowerment teams at personalempowermentteams.me to help loved ones and you become who and what you want to be. Because your deepest fear and sin is not that you're imperfect or inadequate. Your deepest fear and sin is running away from your unlimited power and gifts to become who and what you want to be. So join me at personalempowermentteams.me.